Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We are deep cleaning. So normally we deep clean about 2 to 3 times a year, depending on how much time we have available to us. We are a little bit late on this year's cleaning. We had a deep clean in the springtime, but now it is our fall cleaning. We are a bit late. This was supposed to be done way earlier in the year. We were supposed to do it when it was warm out. We didn't do it. We were too busy. So I'm just going to show you guys what we do to deep clean over here. It involves some scraping, some scrubbing, some bleaching, all that good stuff. The reason why we deep clean a couple times a year is because it helps prevent any type of weird sort of illness situations, bacterial issues. Big one is respiratory issues. It's kind of the nature of the beast of raising rabbits. Rabbits produce a lot of ammonia in their urine, so we try to make sure that we cut down on any really bad ammonia. We want to make sure that the air quality is good for these guys. So we clean twice a year to kind of keep down all the dust, keep down the ammonia, and then we bleach to make sure that there's no bacteria or pathogens that could affect our rabbits' guts or respiratory systems. Here we found that the best medicine is prevention. Keeping everything nice and clean as much as you can is going to prevent all sorts of like nasty diseases, nasty pathogens, nasty bacteria, all that good stuff. I'm going to do that, and then we have to head to my father-in-law's house because we have to make a ramp for him. It's one of those projects that is off the farm or is off the homestead, but it's still kind of relevant. So I'll have the boys show you what they're doing. You guys can get an idea of how we put it together, how it's going to work, and all that good stuff. And then obviously there will be babies. So we just have Esme. She's the only one who kindled. We do have a couple does that are due, and we bred a couple does a couple days ago. So we will have hopefully more babies going into December and February. After that, we'll probably take a break. Most of the does do not want to breed in the cold. So we'll take another break, and then going into like April, we usually start trying to breed the does again. Usually some of my does will show signs of wanting to be bred. So they'll be babies. I will show you guys the ratio of bleach to water that we use, and I'll show you what I use to spray everything down after we have burnt off all of the like gross blown out fur or cobwebs that collect over the year, and then we'll spray down the cages, and I will show you how I do that. But first, babies. Let's look at some of the babies that we have. Use it. Hello, littles. Okay, Miss Esme. Let's check your nest box. Look at the babies. Look at how much these guys have grown. Oop, bonk. Hi. Hey, look. Look, that's an eye. We have some eye opens. My goodness. So, a caster, a broken caster, another broken caster, which I thought originally was a broken caster, and then I also thought was a broken chocolate. It's kind of hard to see colors until about day 5. And then a broken black with no otter markings. So he's just a full broken black. A lot of casters, obviously, because she's a broken caster, and the buck that I bred her to was also a caster. So hello, little babies. Whoop. Hello. So it's nice and warm out, so I'm not too worried about these guys. They're still set up in the box pretty good. Hi. Hi. Hello. It's so cute. So these guys are 10 days old now. So it is okay to start taking them out of the nest and making sure that they've got nothing going on with their eyeballs, nothing going on with their noses. You want to make sure that all of your kits have clear eyes, clear noses. This guy, I don't know if that white is going to stay on his nose or not, but that is not typical of a castor. So we'll see. I think it's super cute. I don't know if it's going to stay. But for those of you that are looking to get into the hobby to show, that is not that is an automatic DQ. So if he has a nose like that and he keeps it going forward, that's a DQ. Casters are not to have any type of funky color on their noses unless they are considered broken, which this guy is not broken. He's a full caster. Now's the time to start taking out the kits and loving up on them and getting them used to being held, because going forward, if you don't give them any type of human contact, they will get a little bit skittish, and you don't want that. You want them to be nice and calm the whole time that you have them. Otherwise, they can be a little bit hard to handle. Okay, now we're gonna get cleaning. I also took the time to clean Esme's nest box out. We have a short that was made a couple days ago explaining why it's important to clean the nest box and why we do it and when we do it. I will link it up in the top, so be sure to go check that out if you want to learn a little bit more about nest box cleaning and why it's important. I also started on the process of building our new grow out cage. It came from KW Cages. It's a modular. It's a double cage, 30 by 36. We haven't figured out exactly how we want to design it yet, but I need to at least get the cage built, so that's what I did. So what are we doing here?
We made a wheelchair ramp, dude.
Yeah.
It's not done. This part needs to go connect to that part. Yeah, this is the first pad we made. We put some rebar in here and stuff.
So
The height of the pad is so that way we can have the correct angle on the ramp that'll go from that platform to the final destination. And then because that would put us still a little bit high from ground height,
yeah.
But the ground height's variable, so this is a level surface now. I had some material brought in, but I can just pick the grade of the ground up to my platform height on the concrete.
Okay.
And so this stuff here is 2 yards of extra heavy material. That's it's gravel, 3/4 gravel. It should have been done better. If any of you ever do this, make sure you cut your 4x4s in. Unlike the guy that started this, didn't do that. So now we're gonna have to add 2x4s on the inside, come up. These are supposed to be cut in so that this sits on the inside of this. It's supposed to be notched in.
Yep.
None of that got done right. Some of the footings on the elephant feet weren't entirely level. So there's still a lot of stuff that has to be done with it, but it's most of the way there. The railings are going all right. If you ever do these, the spacings on these should be done better than this. If you back up, you can see that you have a space here and then nothing here. There's a couple of different ways to do it that are better than that. And it'll work. It's to code, but it's a little pet peeve of mine. I like to have one actually on the baluster.
Yeah.
That way, instead of having just a couple small pieces of wood holding with the screws to the 4x4, one of these all the way against it and screwed with 3 points into it, and then into these works better. If you want it to look nice on this end, you can use trim screws. I like GRK trim screws. These are decking screws, right? And you can see it splits the wood. It doesn't always split the wood. Like on these ones, they did all right. But if you do this in the winter time, regular decking screws are most likely going to split it. And then, you know, you're going through a lot of balusters.
You guys bought these balusters?
Yeah, this is what you get if you buy PT balusters, like your standard regular square cut. You can get 45 cut balusters too, but these are just your standard ones. You can make them with a table saw out of 2x4s. A long time ago, I took a bunch of scrap for my wife's old house and I ripped them down into 1x1 balusters for a spiral staircase I did. But this right here, we should have got all these on, then snapped a chalk line and ran a skill saw down it. That would have been a lot better.
Yeah, you can see
because what it is these boards are cut square. Yep. But the actual rafters, I think, are twisting in. That way, every time you put it on, they don't look quite right. I think the whole ramp is a little crooked, but it mechanically works fine. There's nothing wrong with it, really. That's a normal small pack of balusters. That's how they come. The concrete set up really well overnight. It had it was really cold when we put it on the ground, so I thought it would take longer because it was in the 30-degree category Fahrenheit. And then I didn't use a vibrator on it, so you can see on the sides here there's a bunch of air pockets like these that if we had used a vibrator around the edges, or maybe even if we had stuck a shovel in there and really just shook it around the sides, maybe we could have gotten those out. There's a good 8 bars of rebar in there. We used bar ties to hold them together, which are really very easy to use. You could use wire. Have you thought about putting a... Are you just GRKing it?
I'm going to GRK it and do what they wanted us to.
Because if we GRK it from the inside...
Yeah.
You could do that and you don't need to put your drill out here.
Well, yeah, but let's get that done first before we move on to these.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, that is pretty much it. That was what I did with my week. We are not done with the ramp yet, but Brandon, Dolan's twin, is taking some time off before the holidays to finish it, and Dolan keeps going up whenever he can. So at some point within the next couple weeks, I'll get like an updated sort of video on what it looks like. Thank you guys so much for watching. I super appreciate the support. Thanks for liking and commenting and all of that great stuff. Thank you for just hanging out with me while I show you what my day-to-days look like. There is a lot that happens on the homestead as well as off the homestead, and I'm glad everyone is here to see it. I hope you all have a great day, evening, morning, and I will see you guys in the next one.